Well, you might recall, I think last week, maybe the week before, we had former presidential candidate and New Mexico Governor Gary Johnson on this show. He is running for Senate in that beautiful state. Right now, we've got the guy who's on the Republican side of that lever, New Mexico Senate candidate Mick Rich. He joins us right now. By the way, we have a call out to his opponent, the incumbent Democratic Senator Martin Heinrich. I still haven't heard back, but hope springs eternal. Mr. Rich was nice enough, after all, to get back to us. So thank you, and very good to have you.
Neil, it's great to be here this afternoon.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the economic back and forth you might have heard in the beginning, and it's been a roaring debate with President Obama entering the fray, saying this recovery is on me. The things that President Trump are bragging about started with me. And he was reminding Democrats in that audience in Illinois today, don't forget that, guys. Don't see the economic issue to Republicans. What did you think of that?
Well, Neil, our state has been languishing for the last 12 years. It wasn't until President Trump got into office and the Republicans pushed forward the tax reform jobs bill that we really started to see our state turn around. And that's down in southeast New Mexico, where it's oil and gas. And we're starting to see a little flicker in our economy. But, Neil, I'm running for the United States Senate because our state has one of the highest unemployment rates in the nation. We have one of the highest crime rates around, and our students are languishing. And we need a senator in Washington focused on the economy, good-paying jobs, safe communities, and an education system that works.
Do you think the president, sir, should focus exclusively on that? Because that is, even this anonymous writer to the New York Times had acknowledged that this is something that he can point to. And all this other stuff, going after leakers, punishing those who write editorials in the New York Times anonymously, that distracts from his otherwise pretty good economic message. What do you think?
Personally, I think the president needs to focus on his strengths and where his successes have really been, and that's in the economy. When we've seen the jobs bill come through, tax reform, unemployment has dropped, more people are going to work, higher wages. It's good all around, and that's what the message is that I see that we need to focus on. When people ask me, am I going to support the president and his policies, it's those economic policies that I support.
You know, I thought when we had Gary Johnson here, sir, you two would divide I wouldn't call it in general the Republican vote, the conservative vote, but maybe a lot of the independent vote, and the incumbent senator would just waltz right in there. What do you think?
Neil, what I see and what's become apparent now that Gary's in the race is that the Republican conservative, those Trump voters that voted for the president in the presidential campaign, they're on board with our candidacy. And Martin Heinrich and Gary Johnson are going to be splitting the rest of the vote, and we're going to be able to win, and the numbers are starting to come together where we're seeing that. We've got a real path to win this race and let Gary Johnson and Martin Heinrich split the vote.
So they would end up splitting the vote. All right. We'll see what happens. Sir, thank you very much for taking the time.
Thank you, Neil.